I used to coach football. And one game, I was the head coach for the JV team for Keating High School in Columbia, South Carolina. Back in the days, 2005, 6, and 7, 8, and 9, I was around. And we won one of our games against Eau Claire by 1 point. And my boys out there celebrating. And the kid walked by and said, "What y'all celebrating for? You only beat us by 1 point." And I was a little petty back then. I didn't have as much, I wasn't as polished. I'm still not polished. But I looked at the scoreboard and I said, "Hey, son, look at the scoreboard. Who won?" He was like, "But you only won by 1 point." I says, "In the record books, it will still say I won." I don't care how big or small the win is. A win is a win. You don't get no more victory for losing. Hey, it's Fred Talk. I hope that you're doing well this morning or whenever you're watching it. But I say this morning because we come on every Tuesday at 7 a.m. With a new episode of Fred Talk. As I began to talk about last time, Fred Talk was inspired from a dream to do a podcast or some type of motivational speaking that will actually empower and invigorate someone to continue to do what they need to do in life to seize the opportunity to be a better person. I do not claim to be a coach or a guru about life. I'm trying to figure life out myself. But the things I have learned along the way, I want to share those things with you. Last week, we started talking about this girl named Alice, and 5 years old, and she was like a walking epistle. Like, she literally showed us how to actually celebrate others. And one statement I made on the last episode that really like tore my spirit up is that a clap for others is ultimately a clap for yourself. And I really believe that many of us are not clapping for other people. Yeah, we're not really clapping for other people because we never saw what clapping for other people looked like. Like, we never saw a mentor celebrating a mentee. We always saw a mentor fussing a mentee out. When is the last time you went to a game and you saw a coach literally encourage one of the players in a very friendly, nice way? We consider coaching to be almost like an authoritarian player, as a person that is in complete authority and mean and full of malice, in your face, rah, 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 rah. But sometimes the greatest coach is the coach that shows you how to do it while the whole time making you feel like it's very possible you can do it. Because ultimately, coaches are supposed to get you to the next level. So what I want to do literally for the next 15, 16 minutes, I want to coach you on how to effectively celebrate others. Is that okay? I'm going to give you points. I'm going to give you bullet points in this. We're going to literally show you how to celebrate others, because many of us do not know how to celebrate others. Our definition of celebrating others is saying good job. But then we're counterproductive, because when we say good job, we'll say something, good job on your little accomplishment. Like, why you got to use the word little there? You know, people do that, right? I see your little business, or I see what you're trying to do over there. Yeah, it's okay. Why don't you just say, hey, great job with what you're doing, and leave it at that. One of the things that I often get fussed at about my friends and peers is that I often have this need to use word fillers, right? So I just did it. So instead of just saying using word fillers, I say right, because I had to use a word filler to transition me. Or I can be like, what do you think about this? Instead of just saying so, or just saying, what do you think about this? I have this long pause with a word that's filling the space. And many of us, we practice fillers, but a lot of us practice negative fillers. The idea that you are complimenting does not make you any less because they are the ones being complimented. Complimenting other people shows the maturity and the strength and the magnitude and the fortitude of how powerful you are. So the thing I want to deal with on this episode, and the first thing I want to deal with is be authentic, be genuine. Nobody wants a fake. Nobody wants a fake. If you're going to smile, let it be a genuine smile. Or just don't smile. Because the worst thing in the world is a fake smile. Because a fake smile says to everyone, I really don't want to smile, but because I don't want confrontation, I'll smile. If you're not happy, there's a way of sharing with a person you're not happy without making them become unhappy that you're unhappy. You get it? It's kind of like misery love company. And if you're not happy, you want everybody else in your life to be mad. That's not fair. So be authentic, be genuine. There's a way you can tell people, hey, I'm not in my best place right now, but that does not take away the fact that you just won. Most women are the saddest when their friends get married. If all them single and the first one get married, now it's this like pseudo happiness that I'm kind of happy for you because it's you, but I'm not really happy because it's not me. Get what I'm saying? So you have to be really authentic and genuine about being happy for others. When one win, we all win. A clap for others is a clap for yourself. Because when you clap for others, the seed of clapping will always come back to you. The next thing I want to show you, point number 2, is to find, and it's going to be point number 2, A, B, and C. Y'all ready? You have to find multiple channels of celebrating people. The first channel would be public recognition. As a pastor, when people do stuff in my church that I really want to celebrate, I get up and I call their name. I may have them to stand up. I may have them to wave in the crowd. I even may put a picture of them on the screen. I want to publicly recognize them for their hard work and efforts. I'm celebrating them. Here it is. I'm giving them their flowers while they're alive. Get it, right? I'm celebrating them, giving them the roses to smell while they can smell them. The worst thing in life is to try to make a dead person smell good flowers. It's the worst thing in life. I go to these funerals and no shot or indictment to anybody. But one of the hardest things about funerals is going to these funerals and hearing all these nice things about what this person did and knowing in their lifetime, nobody ever publicly recognized them for what they was doing. How is it that this person made everybody laugh and nobody ever came on Facebook or said in a family reunion, you made me laugh? That person can't hear they made y'all laugh until they're dead and gone. And I know we get up in church and I'm about to show my theology here. But, you ain't going to get no chance to get in heaven and be like, well, you made me laugh on earth. No, you're not going to have that opportunity. Use your opportunity now to publicly recognize people who need to be celebrated. There's some good cooking. Can you smell what I'm cooking? Watch this. The second channel would be private appreciation. Don't just publicly recognize me and then privately ignore me. Because some people, they would rather recognize you publicly because there's not authentic enough to appreciate you in private. Privately, appreciate me for what you are publicly recognizing me for. Some people don't want public recognition because they don't want their name out there. But they feed off of private appreciation. Being able to say to me one-on-one, I appreciate you, will make me go harder tomorrow than I did today, simply because I knew that you appreciate what I did. Recently, I text my children, and I did something for the whole family. And we have a chat, Tawana, Morgan, Madison, Mason, and all of us is in a chat. And I texted her and I said, hey, I did such and such. I hope y'all enjoyed it, because nobody was able to send a thank you back. That was kind of edgy, right? I probably could have not said that, but I did. My son often says, the closer you get to dad, the more he talk about you and preach about you and say your name. True. The closer you get to me, proximity means you are sermon and speech material. And when I said that to them, my youngest daughter came in and said, Dad, I'm sorry. Thank you. I was really happy about it. I just never got a chance to tell you. My son came back and says, yeah, Dad, we really appreciate you. My oldest daughter who's in college, who thinks that my middle name is ATM, Fred ATM Folston. She was like, Dad, I really appreciate you. Thank you, Bookie. I don't even know what a Bookie is. Thank you, Bookie. And I'm like, okay, good. The next time I did something, I intentionally didn't say anything because I wanted to know if their private appreciation was as honorable as their public recognition of me in that chat. And that next time, my son, Mason, was the first one to come in there and say, hey, Dad, just want to be the first to tell you thank you. I smiled uncontrollably big, right? Do you know why I smiled? It's because there was no coercion of him giving appreciation. There was no coaching of telling him, hey, when things done like this for you, say thank you and mean it. Saying thank you to people in private goes so far because they don't mind doing it again because they know that in private, you appreciate them. One of the things I see that really breaks marriages up is that the husband or the wife never feels appreciated for the things they do. It's never this idea that, you know what, you do so much for me and this family. I just want to tell you thank you. We have to wait to Mother's Day to tell our mama thank you. And on Father's Day, we give them a tie, some socks, and say, Dad, thank you. We wait till Christmas to tell everybody in their life, hey, here's a gift to just say I thank you. Why it can't be a normal thing? Somebody asked me, they say, Pastor, they say, Fred, why is days big to you? Well, growing up, we didn't really have a lot of money. And that makes my mom mad. I love you, Mama. My mom get mad because my mom made a way out of no way. She was like a holy anointed magician. And that's oxymoron running, right? But the woman could make a meal out of nothing. And she did her best. But I hated Mother's Day and Father's Day because on those days, our church would go to Red Lobster. Back then, Red Lobster was like Ruth Chris. I'm telling my age now. Red Lobster, Golden Corral. I mean, back then we had this thing called Quincy's. They had yeast rolls. And I hated these holidays simply because we didn't have the money to go. And I had to find creative ways to tell my mom and dad that I loved them, appreciate them. So the moment I started working, I was like, yo, we're going to Golden Corral. Hey, we're going to, we didn't have Texas Roadhouse, but then we had other steakhouses. I grew up in Orlando, Florida. We had this restaurant over in Altamont Springs, and I forget the name, but man, it was good. It was kind of like the modern day Piccadilly's or the cafeteria, but it was so good. And I was like, yo, I'm paying this time because the idea that I did not get a chance to publicly recognize them, private appreciation wasn't enough for me. We live in a day now, which is point 3 of our second point of finding multiple ways to celebrate others. We have this thing called social media. We got Facebook and we got Instagram. We have X, which is formerly known as Twitter. We got Snapchat, even though anybody over 30 probably not using Snapchat. 20s and teenagers, they love Snapchat because they get to erase a lot, right? And I realized that some people, if they do something for me, their biggest recognition is a tag on a post. What's wrong with just tagging a person on a post and say, man, I had so much fun today, and tagging them and saying, hey, it was amazing. Thank you, Bob. Man, your food was so good. Thank you, Alexis. Man, I love my t-shirt. I love my ribs. I love what we had today. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Some people don't thrive off of money. Some people, they're not moved by a trip. But if you publicly recognize them through the forms of social media, it'll be everything they ever wanted. So using multiple channels would be number 1, again, public recognition. Number 2, private appreciation. Number 3, social media. Tag somebody, share their post, and say, I enjoy what you wrote. This is a good read. Hey, y'all, come read it. Point 3, I want to deal with in this session, and it looks like we might have a third part of this, but it's all right, because I think that it's necessary for you to understand that celebrating people is a vital part of life. Here it is. Celebrate people if it's a big win or even if it's a small win. A win is a win. I used to coach football. And one game, I was the head coach for the JV team for Keating High School in Columbia, South Carolina, back in the days, 2005, 6 and 7, 8 and 9. I was around, and we won one of our games against Eau Claire by 1 point. And my boys out there celebrating. And the kid walked by and said, what y'all celebrating for? You only beat us by 1 point. And I was a little petty back then. I didn't have as much, I wasn't as polished. I'm still not polished. But I looked at the scoreboard and I said, hey, son, look at the scoreboard. Who won? He was like, but you only won by 1 point. I says, in the record books, it will still say I won. I don't care how big or small the win is. A win is a win. You don't get no more victory for losing. In life, a loss is a loss. For us who are thriving and trying to achieve in God, every loss is a learning situation. But for people who don't really understand that you got to learn from your losses, it's an L. The L literally stands for learning, but we identify with loss. You have to celebrate every win because it really could have been a loss. I'm often reminded that recognizing every achievement gives a person a little bit more hope to win again. Some people, unfortunately, lose because the win was not big enough for them. And when you learn that every win is big, you'll appreciate the small wins even more. There was a pastor recently that was able to go on Facebook Marketing. He found something that he's been wanting for 7 years. And the caption on his live was, it might be small to you, but this is huge to us. And for people who already had that piece of equipment, it may have seemed small. But for this person in that church, it was everything. They made a post about it. They went live about it. They shouted over it that next Sunday. They danced because this was a win for them. If you really are wanting to celebrate people, you don't be envious and disguise your envy by saying, it's just a light. It's just a camera. It's just a podium. No, some people probably work their whole life to get a camera that's 4K. Some people may work their whole life to get a laptop that's touchscreen. Don't judge another person's win based off your wins, because your win might be a loss to them. You got to be careful. Point number 4, practice appreciative joy. Practice appreciative joy. This is the mindset of finding genuine joy in another person's success. This is the practice of finding genuine joy in another person's success without comparison. When you compare your joy to another person's joy, you just defeated your future joy. When you compare another person's win to your wins and losses, you just defeated everything that life is about. I'm serious. You are losing the quality of life by counting the quantity of wins. Don't lose quality trying to celebrate quantity. 5 wins to you for one person's 1 win is just as equal as it would be 5 losses to 1 loss. A loss at the wrong time is a bad loss to anybody. Anybody losing a parent is a bad loss. Anybody getting divorced from a partner after so many years is a bad loss. Everybody is grieving. Everybody is grieving something different, but grief is grief. You can't judge levels of grief, and you can't judge levels of happiness. Happiness is happiness, and grief is grief. Let people grieve and grieve with them. Let people have joy and have joy with them. When you practice another person's success, it reminds you that you don't have to dim your light for their light to shine. When you don't practice celebrating others, you think that you are dimming their light, but you're ultimately dimming your own light. There's room for everybody to shine. If you shine on your area and celebrate their shine, it'll be enough light to eradicate darkness. But the reason that some of us in so many dark situations is because we keep dimming everyone else's light, not knowing that their light is helping your light shine even more. You gotta be happy for others. My time running out. Let me hurry. Number 5 is literally make it a habit and set reminders to celebrate someone every week. This is how you celebrate someone else's victory. This is how you clap like you won too. Be intentional about texting somebody throughout the week and saying, hey, I saw what you did this week. Great job. I did psychotherapy because I am a certified chaplain, and I did my residency at the hospital in Columbia. Back then it was called Palmetto Health. And I did psychotherapy, and they call it the cookie model or the sandwich model, where if you got to give critical advice or you got to give critique or hard criticism, that you give the hard criticism, you give something that you saw that they did very well, and then you end with the constructive criticism, which means when I come and talk to you, even if I don't like everything you've done, I find something positive that you did do, and I sandwich it. Many of us are so mean, and we say that we're 100. I'm 100. I keep it real. Keeping it real and being mean are 2 different things. And many of you, you're not real. You're mean. You're actually real mean. Don't be real mean. Find something good in everything that you see bad. Everything is not bad. Some stuff just is not to your taste or your liking. But just because it's not to your taste or liking, don't mean the world will kill them for how they did it. Being able to find something positive is powerful. Positive is powerful. Number 6, Be mindful that you don't kill yourself with something called comparison. I'm guilty of this. I can see other leaders in the insurance industry and I find other pastors who are like killing the game, and I would immediately compare. And there's been some times I'm like, man, I'm more organized than them. I speak better than them. I have more charisma than them. But there's something they're doing that attracts people to them that it may not be attractive coming from me. When you compare yourself to others, you are killing the God-given potential that God is giving you to perform your assignment. One of the hardest lessons I'm having to learn is that I got to celebrate others in their success, learn what they're doing well, and learn from what they're not doing well. Everybody in life is your teacher. You have to learn every lesson you learn in that classroom. And sometimes the lesson you have to learn is not to be like them. And it's still a lesson well learned. When you learn to celebrate others, God will raise up somebody to celebrate you. I'm going to come back next month or next week or sometime later this year, and I'm going to share with you my last couple of points with as it deals with celebrating others, and clap like you want to. And I'm going to deal with celebration project. Because celebration project is when you notice and celebrate everyday kindness as a help to others, not to hurt others. I'm also deal with how to make a decision to help other people along the way. We're going to get into it. But for now, I just literally need to tell you, be purposeful and intentional about celebrating everybody in your life. Even if it's not your style, don't take away their stage.